Grab a shovel, Tony. Grab a shovel. We are in trouble. It's been snowing here, but it's coming down in London too. The weather is closing in around London too. Arsenal Fan Circle, the Sunday show, and I
There
have
you are,
to,
Ray. You're already talking about the weather when Arsenal did that. You're back to your old targets, Ray.
we have to be here. I
Old
have to be
tactics.
here. I've got to start the show, but do I want to be part of this? Do I want to be part of talking about what went wrong? Yeah, I do. I do. Listen.
You know what it was, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
It was our fastest exit out of both domestic cups for the third year running. We
Yeah,
beat it 3 times in a row.
you when you're in the league, you have to figure out what you want to be. Do you want to be a team that's gonna bring young players through and sell them, like a Brighton or a Brentford, that kind of team? Be happy to be mid-table. Do you want to be a team who wants to stay in the Premier League and keep that money, like a Crystal Palace, or who else? Who else is down there? Bournemouth. Bournemouth are doing quite good, but Arsenal demand, Tony. Arsenal demand that we be fighting for trophies, that we be at the top of the table fighting. Our history demands it. We're the third best team in the country, but it doesn't look like it these last 6-7 games.
Nope. I don't know what it'd be if we're sitting at the end of the month, if we're in fifth place out of both the domestic cups and just in the Champions League with little
Yeah,
chance to
yeah.
win the league.
You want to keep it going as much as possible. You want to be involved in these cup competitions. You want to have a league that's going to mean something to you. League games that are going to mean something to you. You want to be involved in Europe. And, once you go out of a cup competition in the Carabao Cup, that was probably November when we went out of the Carabao Cup. And now in the FA Cup. Why can't we get past this third round, Tony?
I don't know, it's like I said, third year running earliest exit from both domestic cups. And we set up with a team, made with changes some of us has been talking about. But it kind of ended up being a weird 4-2-2-2 formation.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
but you're playing the Liverpool team that's basically half of a under 23 team and half the regular team, and they still found enough in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah. You're looking at a Liverpool team who didn't have Virgil van Dijk at the back. They had to play Allison, their better goalkeeper, in goals to maintain that structure at the back. They changed their midfield with injuries. And like you said, Tony, halfway through the second half, they're bringing on young players, young academy players and then you're looking like these are signals for Arsenal to take the impetus, take control of the game, and get that first goal. But my God, Tony, my God, we just cannot take our chances. We just cannot swing a leg at a ball coming at you. Havertz cannot swing a leg at a ball coming at you. We're on top of this team. We're on top of Liverpool the first 10, 15, 20 minutes.
And
And we are just
Saka himself could have sewed up the game early on because he missed plenty of early chances as well.
we are just goal shy in front of goals. We cannot buy a goal. Welcome, Gary. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Why do we do this to ourselves, Gary? Why do we? I mean, maybe we need this, right? Maybe we need to talk.
I don't know why we need this. We don't deserve this. Why do, what do you mean? There's no way. No, we don't deserve this.
We don't deserve this, but we deserve a team. Like I said, historically, Arsenal's the third best team in the country. We're probably the third best team right now in the league. And
on paper, it means absolutely nothing, but on the pitch, it means a hell of a lot.
Yeah. Look, Nigel's here back. Liverpool fans are smiling. Sorry to say this, but I told you
I
Yeah.
don't think anybody expected this.
So was it a free hit?
Yeah.
No. FA Cup is not a free hit and should not be seen as a free hit. I'm not here to gloat, by the way, respect Arsenal. But Arsenal didn't respect themselves. Arsenal didn't stand up to the challenge. We knew this
Hi,
Liverpool
Taib.
team. Hmm? Hi,
Saying
Taib.
hi. Yep.
Moss is here. Moss feels sick right now. Yeah. And, Stan was feeling nervous about this game leading up to it because and the writing was on the wall and you keep waiting, hoping for something to change. But the allocation of money over the summer has been a big issue. Uh,
None of, not. I'm not taking that. Nothing we saw today had as much to do about not having players.
Yeah,
okay.
but it does come down to spending the 60-odd million on
Nothing
Kai
I saw
because Kai.
today should nothing we saw today was because of we don't have the players to get the job done.
Yeah, it is because
Nothing
Arteta didn't
against
pick the right
Fulham
players.
was
They
down
didn't put
to
their chances away, Gary.
you have which to me means you have players that should be able to do that, right? Are you saying our players aren't really good at scoring? They've never done it in their career.
You're looking at Kai Havertz, who wants to take an extra touch every time the ball
Everybody
comes to
takes an
him.
extra touch, so you can blame everybody. Like I said, this is not just a one player thing. This is not just a we're missing that player thing. The
But
entire attack,
it's
the
definitely our
entire
attack
attack,
though.
the entire attack is toothless. All of them, all of them.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
not just one player, and I don't think you bring in one player is going to change anything.
A striker. We're crying out. This team is
But
crying out for a striker,
not when
Gary.
the entire squad is playing the way they are.
No, the
It's
chances are coming. You put a striker in there, you're going to score.
the problem was
I
the
don't believe
attack,
just one
Gary.
problem's going to fix this because I don't even
We
think the
were
ball gets
we
to
were
him.
dominating the first half. We just couldn't put anything in to save our lives.
Uh, Moss said,
It's a squad issue, and it's not like we're missing one player issue. You know,
Kai and Saka need finishing school. We got a break now. Every day finishing, or you could just say every day fishing. And Kai, try a first time shot for once. See, I wasn't even reading that, and Moss,
I've been calling for this forever. You guys
I
never
know,
listened to me. I've been
I
calling
know.
for this since last year. Why do we take so
Well, I
many
don't
extra
know
touches
why
in the
when we're
box?
saying why when we're saying it now,
Gary, you've
Gary,
been calling for this for 5 fucking years. Come
you
on.
Yeah.
don't agree with what
You
we're
always
saying when we finally agree with what you're
Well,
saying.
nobody's coaching it because none of our players are doing it. And it's not even a problem with just Arsenal. I see it in every game.
Hmm.
Every game you see it. So it's not even just
Every
an
Arsenal
Arsenal
game.
issue. Every game of football
Okay.
that I watch,
Okay.
somebody has an opportunity to put their foot through at one time. Nope, they take the extra touch. Right?
Moss said someone just showed 64 attempted shots, last three matches and one goal. That's like a
Yeah.
Tony stat right there. Um, we lived in Liverpool's box and cannot finish. FA Cup, right, is never a free hit. We have a proud tradition of being the holding that cup for the most amount of times. And we failed the last 3 or 4 seasons. In the FA Cup, we failed. Let that sink in. Kai closes, eyes, heads, easy chance with top of head. This is rookie stuff. Missing a header from 4 yards out. Erdegaard shoots first time at times. Everyone else takes so many touches. You have Gary
yeah,
two
but
three
Odegaard's the one
touches.
that cost us the game there, giving away a stupid free kick that he shouldn't have gave away.
What's that, Tony?
I said you had Odegaard who cost us the game by that foul that gave away that cheap free kick, and
You know what cost us the game, I think, is we didn't take our chances as well in the first 60 minutes.
You know, the first half should have been 2-3-0 to
No,
Arsenal.
easily. Yeah, easily. We were so much on
And
top
you
of
know
them
what
in the
happened in
first
the
10
second
minutes.
half? Liverpool realized we didn't really want this. We really didn't want this. Like 50-50 balls, they were getting all of them. They were the more aggressive team, like usual. We are never the aggressive team, right? guess what? Eventually, you could see it. Basically, 79 minutes on the clock. They just looked like they were going to try to score. 75 minutes on the clock. They actually looked like they were going to score.
We
And I never felt like that for Arsenal in this match, where I felt like we were going to score soon.
man, if
Like we are putting so much pressure on them that eventually the ball's going to go. Like it didn't look like that at all.
I felt that way in the second half when Martinelli came on and he was creating.
Martinelli, nothing changed. He didn't change that. Like I didn't. Like you did not feel like Martinelli coming on, a goal was coming soon, based on the way that this game went today.
You thought it might come as much as he was getting the ball. Gabriel kept feeding him.
We never even give him a ball enough. I mean, he should have
Didn't
had
give
the
him a
ball all
ball
the time.
enough. He had it like.
Not enough still.
I bet he had the ball 50% of the time, and
Steven said
30 minutes he's on there.
Steven said, right, the manager has to go. It's his team, his tactics. We are already a goal down for 10 minutes.
Good.
Then he makes the change, which should have been done on 60. Which top club would take what top club?
I don't know how we got Bizarro Gary here. First, he's not blaming the attack. Now he's blaming that Martinelli didn't have a ball enough when he had it tons when he came on. We kept the speed on the left side. He didn't do anything with it.
Martinelli got a lot of.
He didn't do anything with it when he should have just taken it himself. When he looks up and he sees nobody coming into the box with him, don't wait for anybody to come in there, because just take it. I mean, that's what we needed. Somebody actually needed to just stand up and say, "I got this." Nobody wanted to do that. Nobody said it. Look, I'll do this. I'll make the defensive play. Look, I will take this ball and I'll put it into the back of the net. Right? The 50-50 ball, I'll go get it. Don't worry about it. Nobody stood up. Nobody stood up. Somebody stand up, and they didn't.
This team is crying out for a striker.
I wish that was the answer. The only answer.
We don't have the answer at the club right now.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think one player is the answer, because this is an entire squad that just looks like, nah,
yeah, but
I don't want to be here.
Two players definitely weren't answers, and we spent a lot of money on them, which is Jesus and Havertz.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus can be a squad player, but let's not ask him to play through the middle. Gabriel Jesus. Sam said, I think we need to be honest and realize our performances have been below par for most games, apart from a handful, and some late wins have masked the reality of that. Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you win games late on against Brentford.
We're winning them late on because we're not playing better football beforehand, right? I mean, that's what's going on there, right? We are not playing well.
We're a shambles at the moment. Schoolboy finishing. 30 shots, doesn't matter if 25 are rash. They get easily blocked or missed by Miles. We do like a proper finisher.
We don't threaten the goal at all. The goalkeeper's hands never sting. Like, ouch, that hurt. They don't. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that.
Our rivals have at least one good finisher. Martinelli gives me no faith to score a goal. Martinelli cooking Trent again, and then Trent gets a cheap own goal. Wasn't even a foul on Odegaard. I think we have to be fair and say Odegaard did foul Gravenberch there when Odegaard is getting grabbed the whole match. The ref missed some things, but he let a lot of physicality go as well.
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, he let a lot of it go as well. If you want to play a physical game, then be consistent. The assembles here. Evening, everyone. Shall we call that a gallant defeat? It wasn't even gallant. It was a defeat. We're in a situation where Liverpool are weak. We're playing at home, and we don't have that urgency or impetus outside of the first 15 minutes to score a goal. And we're not clinical enough in scoring that goal. And yes, you can say we hit the crossbar. We did this, we did that. Shots were blocked. You expect teams to come to the Emirates and put a shift in. And that's what Liverpool did. And look, Liverpool had to sit in our shadows for 30 years. But now they are in a period of 7, 8, 9 years where they can brought
Minus
down the
last year,
street.
right? They were 7th. They retooled, fixed
Mhm.
everything in less than a year's time. We're on this 4 or 5 year journey that still hasn't gotten us anywhere.
Yep.
Unless you want to count the one FA Cup there.
Steven said, brings Eddie on. For what? He's not a striker. He's a ball boy at best. You know?
And like, I mean, look at when he brings on his subs. Like, how
Late.
are they supposed to make a difference, right? You're you, I mean, I mean, it, if you don't have any trust in these players, why are they here?
He didn't waste any
First
time
half of
bringing Martinelli
first half
on.
of football, we can't finish. All right, got it. All right, first 5-10 minutes of the second half, nothing has changed. They bring on 2 subs at 75 minutes. They score 5 minutes later on an own goal. Yeah, well, but they are pressing us from that. When they brought those 2 young players on, I was sitting there going, Klopp has basically said, guess what? You youngsters go out there and play some football. Don't worry about their result.
Mm-hmm.
Arteta stood pat, nothing, no change. They basically went from that point on and
We did
said
change.
they
We
turned
got
on,
Martinelli on.
they turned on the attack. Anytime they got the ball, they just continued to
Did
attack,
you
attack,
miss?
attack.
Did you miss us
And
bringing on Martinelli,
and it's
Gary?
they brought on 2 academy players, Tony,
We don't have academy
and they
players.
didn't look back after that as a squad.
In Arteta's eyes, we do not have academy players because he doesn't trust them, won't play them.
He just got beat by 2 on the pitch in a game without the other team's best 2 players.
Because Arteta only trusts 9 to 11 players at a given
Yeah,
point.
you're not getting it, but
Look,
it's not. We
I
should
would
be
say
when they bring on 2 academy players at that point in a game, they're okay with whatever result comes their way. Guess what? They just decided to go ahead and just take it because we weren't going to do it.
Well, they have a semifinal this week, so
It
and
doesn't
look,
matter. Today matters.
you know what, Tony? They
What
have
does
a
it matter?
semifinal.
What does it matter what they have going on? They played today as if, guess what? It doesn't matter the result. We're
They
supposed to win this. This is supposedly our cup, right?
it's supposed to be.
Did we look like it was our cup?
It was
No.
supposed to be. This was our season, Gary. Because you know what? It'll take a big effort to win a Champions League. Dare I say it? It'll take a big effort to remain in contention in the league if we keep playing like this. And look, Nigel, you better hope you can keep Jurgen Klopp for as long as possible at Liverpool because you know things come around in the end,
Uh,
and
they got all the trophies, right? They won all the trophies they needed to win.
keep Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Don't
So,
let him go.
yeah, they
Don't let him go, Nigel.
should be happy.
Um,
This is
yeah,
what we're supposed to be striving for: is be able to come in games like this down some of our
yeah,
better players, but it doesn't matter, you know.
yeah. We need a manager, striker, backup striker, and 2 midfield defensive options. Greetings. Really not the ideal start to 2024. 2024 began already at freaking Fulham, was it? You know,
he was
Ramsdale.
probably good in that one, right?
Ramsdale was the man of the match for Arsenal, player that was been. We looked good with Ramsdale.
I
You
don't
know,
think so.
I
I thought Gabriel was the
you
best
guys are
player.
just grasping at straws.
I thought Gabriel looked the best.
Nobody gets anything from me. I don't care. Nobody. The man has defensive players in front of him basically laying down. He makes a tremendous save, and he's smiling.
there. Sam is right here. Arsenal and Arteta, they're adverse to a striker, adverse to forwards. The money we didn't need to use to buy Havertz and Raya when we pay for him is the money we should have used on a good striker. We knew we were lacking since last season. Havertz and Raya, baffling
And, and you
transfers.
can add Jesus to the list.
Yeah. Jesus has a place in the squad, but not as a number 9, and
Yeah,
not
but
up front.
we spent 53 million on him. He only had a year left on his contract. So in 6 months we could have signed him for free and had him for free the next
We wouldn't be in the
summer.
Champions League if he wasn't on the squad.
Is Arteta going to use bad refereeing decisions or VAR? Martinelli is the center forward, nothing else that they assembled. I don't know. I don't know where to go with this one. You know what I mean? Riddy said something is broken at Arsenal. Yes, that was a great save, but why would Ramsdale smile like that? Would Allison or Edison smile after making that save? Yeah, they would. They were making saves. They were making blocks. And Allison and Konate were congratulating each other.
Would they be upset with the defense in front of them that required them to make that save, or would they just be like, nothing? That's the problem.
They were,
It isn't
they
just
were
the smiling.
shouting.
It was he didn't say a damn word to anybody after that, from what I saw.
Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't say a word. Basically, you guys lay down on the job. I'll do my job, and guess what? And I'll smile about it. Nah, what you guys doing isn't working here for me anyway. So they need, nobody wanted to take the mantle and say, guess what? I'll show you what we need to do. Nobody took it. I mean, nobody stood up like I said.
Welcome, Stan. Gary's not feeling. We're not feeling good about this.
Well, I tell you what I'm pissed off about the most. The thing that has actually got me. I don't know why, but I'm more pissed off about it. And that's as soon as the game finished, and I picked up my phone and was looking on social media, I saw a lot of tweets which were kind of similar, and they're all along the line. They're all along the lines of if you think that this is Arteta's fault, then you're clueless. And for me, it's like, why is Mikel Arteta beyond reproach? That's your first fucking go-to, is to pick up your phone and go straight out and say, if you're blaming the managers, you're clueless. I don't know why, but that's just fucking stupid me. Because at the end of the day, right, as much as I love Arsenal and I do appreciate Mikel Arteta, I can be critical of him, right? And they're going, well, and other people say, hold on, I ain't finished, Tony. Can you not wait till can I not finish, Tony? Am I not allowed?
You're Arsenal. You can't.
Don't take an extra touch, then. Finish first time.
23 minutes, and I've just joined, and I'm not allowed to finish. Can I finish now, Tony? You sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. And people are saying things like, look at all the chances that the players are missing. It's the players' fault. And I'm like, well, the players don't sign themselves to Arsenal. The players, they don't pick the starting lineup. And the players don't make fucking clueless substitutions at 87 minutes. That's not in the players' remit. The players don't come up with the tactics either. So I do think that there are certain times when you have to lay the blame at the manager. It doesn't mean that I'm an Arteta out. I never have been. I've never been an Arteta in either. I don't do that. So that's what I'm annoyed about.
Where's your meter at now, Stan? Your Arteta meter.
I'm annoyed with him in this game. And I called it because my missus got up to watch this one with me. We got up, it was 8:30 here. And I, after the first 10 or 15 minutes, I said to her, let me tell you what's going to happen here. My worry is that when we go into the second half, right, we've used all of our energy in this first half to come out the doors quick, which is good. I go, but we've got no reward for it and we haven't scored a goal. So in the second half, legs will be tired, minds will be tired, and we'll probably undo ourselves with a mistake, or as soon as a chance falls to Liverpool, they will take it. And that's exactly what happened.
Smash and grab.
I saw it coming.
Yeah.
I was on with Danny the other day, pre-show, and I said yesterday, he asked me about my prediction. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't see us winning this one. I said I felt the same way in the previous game, Fulham, and I felt the same way with West Ham as well. And I mentioned it here on Thursday. I said that the problems that I'm seeing aren't problems that you just fix overnight.
No, that's why he changed. That's why he changed as much as he did today, because he's looking for something different, because what we have isn't working.
Well, you You got an injury to Gabriel Jesus, so you need to do you either go Eddie Nketiah or you go Havertz. Those are the
And you
two
got a, and you
options.
got an injury with Zinchenko, so that one was forced as well.
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, I mean, Nelson comes in over Martinelli, who hasn't been playing well, and Nelson has a wonderful opportunity after 2 minutes. The ball is right there to lift it over Allison, take the shot right away, but instead you decide to go around the goalkeeper and get crowded out. And this goalkeeper, he's a good goalkeeper. Allison's a good goalkeeper, and he can get in the heads of players in front of him, especially Arsenal heads in front of him. And Reece Nelson really needed to shoot first time there. A wonderful, wonderful pass from Aaron Ramsdale from the back to the front. And there was a couple of opportunities where we did go along, and we did do that. I don't know if it was per Mikel Arteta's instructions or not, but it happened. 88 minutes, Dan, for Emile Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I just saw it coming.
Yeah,
I
and
really
look,
did. I think as well that he should have gone with his strongest lineup, because we don't have a game for a while, and given those players that have played so badly a chance to redeem themselves.
I think what we're saying is this was as strong as you could have gone, maybe with the exception, arguably, of Martinelli starting.
People have been trying to tell me that Kai Havertz's best position is playing as a false nine or playing as the striker. Well, if we saw it, if that's what he's going to give us, playing in his best position, then he ain't good enough, because he was rubbish today, man. And
At
even
least three opportunities.
My missus hasn't watched a lot of games lately. She's going like, yeah, that guy, man, what's going on with that guy? And it was Havertz. She's like, what's happening with that guy? I goes, he's playing as our striker. She's like, really? She was surprised. She goes, he's supposed to be the striker today. I'm like, yep. She wasn't having any of it. That's my missus.
So going back to,
she knows a little bit because she needs me talking and that, but she's not avid,
But going back where you started there, Stan, all that boils down to Arteta, because he's the one that wasted the 63 million on Havertz.
I agree.
You gave Eddie and Nketiah the money with Jesus. Jesus is not a striker. And now we're searching for a striker. We're pretty much purse strings are tight. So if we're to go for anybody, we're probably have to sell somebody we don't want to sell.
And I don't want to sound
who
like
don't
I'm
we want to
jumping on
sell? Who don't we want to sell?
Well, I mentioned Martinelli.
You would sell Martinelli. So your answer to us, the way we are playing right now, is to sell Martinelli to fix the problem.
I mentioned it. I asked the question, Gary. I didn't say I would.
There is two ways to go now. There's two ways to go now. You start asking questions of the manager, and if he's the right person to take us forward, and nothing is probably going to happen in January, but maybe at the end of the season, it could happen, right? But Arsenal traditionally are not that team to do that. Or you compile a group of players that you're willing to sell and create room for financial fair play.
There is another option. You can be angry at the manager today without wanting him to be fired. Do you know what I mean? You've never been in a situation at work where you may have dropped the ball and your boss is really angry at you. You missed that deadline, or you didn't get the email out in time, or whatever, and he takes you down a strip. He's not going to fire you. He's not going to fire you and send you home from your job, make you redundant. So you can be angry at someone. It doesn't mean that you have to be. You have to go to the end of the meter and say, well, he's got to go. And that's how I feel about him today. I'm pissed off with him today. But I can still appreciate the bigger picture. But I will say one other thing as well. I'm not jumping on any bandwagons because of the late results. I've been feeling way back earlier in the season when we were riding high at the top of the league. In the back of my mind, I've always had the feeling that we were skating on thin ice, that something wasn't quite right, and that maintaining it like we did last season wasn't going to happen. And we're starting to see some cracks. And the problems that we have aren't problems that can be fixed overnight. You see how many chances we have. How many chances? 15 chances in that first half, and we should have had 3 or 4 goals.
Easily.
I mean,
we were popping balls around their back line, around their midfielders. We were getting in at will almost, but they were right at the last point of where you're taking your shot. There was blocks coming in. Allison was saving shots, and they were
He didn't
hanging on.
save anything.
Allison saved shots.
They just hit him at him, and he just caught
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I know what you're saying.
I mean, it's like when I think of a save, like that was a good save, right? It's a shot where he had to stretch for it, like
One from
Ramsdale,
White.
like
Ben White.
Ramsdale saved the ball today, right?
Yeah.
Ramsdale
From
made a
Jala.
save today, right?
From
He didn't just
yes.
catch the shot that was
Yeah.
kicked at him with nothing behind it. I mean, we talk about all these shots. None of them, they're not doing anything. It's like being a boxer, right? And you punching, you have all this contact on the
jabbing,
and they're like, I don't feel a thing, like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
That's what our shots are like. There is no, like the XG is amazing that we get any kind of a point, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my problem with like all these shots we're taking. They don't have a chance. They really don't have a chance. Most of them have no chance to go in. Like we've seen some of our better games.
You could have thrown your cap on some of them, Gary.
We've had
You could have thrown your cap on some of them and stopped
definitely.
the ball.
I mean, I don't think you needed Allison to stop the shots that were taken today.
It was a white shot. There was a couple of
maybe
things.
Ben White shot, but otherwise, there was any goalkeeper would have been able to have the same kind of day in terms of making it what we call saves, right?
Yeah, but Kayasaka, behind the back line again, through on goal. He cuts back inside, trying to get a McGinn type shot that we had against us in Aston Villa. Couple of readjustments where he missed as well. But my point is, we're gonna, but Stan, you're gonna look at this at the end of the season and have a full review of Mikel Arteta's work for the season, and the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup are going to show up pretty prominently in that work, right?
Yeah, I mean, why did he not go with a stronger lineup? This wasn't a Carabao Cup. This was the FA Cup. We're out of that competition, and we don't have a game, coming round for quite some time. We could have put out a much stronger team, I think, and had a real goal, and given players an opportunity to try and redeem themselves for past performances.
So, just for argument's sake, and just to discuss, what would you have done differently?
I would have started with Martinelli.
Okay.
I wouldn't have started with Kai Havertz playing in that position. I would have probably started with Eddie in that position and had Havertz playing in the position that he has been playing in mostly. And there was a period of a few games where he started to look like he was going for a bit of a purple patch. So I don't understand where, if you're trying to ease him and into the team so much, the way that Mikel Arteta is, and forcing him in, and then you start to get a tune out of him in a certain position. Why change it? Why change it now? Why not just keep that as it is and build on that? So that's what I would have done. Yeah. That's what I would have done differently there in the middle of the field.
It seems like he was saying like appearance bonus that William had. It's like Arteta has to play him for whatever reason.
Right. Sam said Havertz was very poor, doing what he should be doing best, that is scoring and creating goals. He is great at running and pressing and styling his hair, which are the main selection criteria. Aaron lost job for no reason. To see those beautiful passes with the feet from Ramsdale sent Reece on breakaway early when, rightly we were testing a new partnership for Liverpool with Van Dijk not being there, Konate and Kwanzaa, and they got through the day. through Arsenal's inefficiency again. Right, the players we need to sell are Arteta signings. I mean, I think
They're all Arteta signings.
most of them are his
Nobody on
signings.
there isn't.
You know,
But
exactly.
I mean, like in general, what he's saying is like Martinelli, no. Saliba, I don't think no.
Yeah.
Erdegaard, I think he was already in before, if I recall, or not. I don't remember. But there's at least, a lot of the younger players aren't his signings, right?
Gotta ask yourself at this point the players. If there's a player that you like that you think is not getting enough games or game time or minutes, are you more interested in keeping the player than the manager now? For me, Emile Smith Rowe versus Arteta, and it's coming down to that for me.
The question is, what's best for Arsenal at this point? Is Arteta? If you're the manager, if you're the owner for this team, do you see Arteta improving from this point on, and like every game out from here, we look at it and go, he's improved each time. Like he's gotten worse
Let's
and
play
worse and
that
worse
game.
each game, right?
Let's play that game. So Josh Kroenke, right? You would say he's the operating control of the club now. He reports to Stan Kroenke, but Josh is the one who will be informing his dad of how things are going, if his dad is not already aware of that. So let's go to Tony first. What do you think? What do you think Josh Kroenke would be saying to Stan right now about Arteta?
I'm sure that he has his doubts on him because at this point we're finished fifth, finished second, and now it's looking impossible to be finishing fifth again. They're sitting in February if you're out of both the domestic cups. If somehow you lose your round of 16 and get knocked out of the Champions League and you're in fifth place, not in the Champions League spot, I think you've got to ask a lot of questions because they've given the manager everything he's asked for. They've fully backed him. I mean, you can't ask them for anything else. It's up to the manager to do those things.
I'll go. You done, Tony?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like a football director, I still don't think we've got the backroom staff set up like it should be. But
Right. And look, I'll go next then. Maybe Stan and Gary can go, or if you guys can figure out what rotation you want to go. But if I'm Josh Kroenke at the end of the season, I'm saying we spent a lot of money last season, and some of the money went in the right directions. Declan Rice, definite upgrade in our midfield, definite upgrade in our team. Urian Timber looks like a good player, but a very unfortunate injury. But what are we doing? What did you do with the other, let's say, 90 million? Because David Raya money is allocated to finish out that transfer fee, and Kai Havertz. We're looking at Eddie and Kenny, and we're looking at Gabriel Jesus here, and are they going to get you the goals to be relevant at the top of the league? So definitely questions have to be asked of Arteta and Edu in terms of the strategy of where that money went to, the allocation of the money. And we all looked at this in the summer, and Kai Havertz, and we were going to give him 10 games, and didn't look quite right after 10 games, but then he started to come good. But did he come good at the expense of other parts of the team? And Mikel, you played some fantastic football last season, but now we're looking for more control, and we're not scoring enough goals. It looks like Martinelli and Saka, Erdegaard are not having good seasons. So that's kind of how the questions I would ask. Stan, what do you think?
Well, if I was Josh Kroenke, I'd be looking at the team. You can only field 11 players at one time, and I can see four players who are supposed to be key components of this team that are not, and that's Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Zinchenko, Thomas Partey, and Tomiyasu. That's four that I've picked out. They're supposed to be key components of this team, and they're either not available. They're either not available a lot of the time, so we don't see them, or when they are available, then they're not they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're not getting goals or assists from Jesus, nowhere near on the basis that we should be getting. And then when Zinchenko's playing, we then have a weakness that the opposition's able to identify, and it causes us problems. And again, these are all choices that are made by the manager. As I say, these players don't sign themselves to Arsenal. And, and it might sound like I'm trying to be like Arteta out and I'm bashing him, but I do feel that when it's warranted and you are attributing blame, it has to be placed at the right place.
Yeah.
And there's no one else that's really accountable for the things that I'm saying at the moment.
Yeah. And I think
we get the checkbook out and we have to write another check and try bringing in other players now.
There are players in ours.
If you're already going to be thinking about discarding some of Mikel Arteta's players, and we may not even get profits on them, then that's quite worrying, isn't it?
Yeah.
They should have a little bit more lifespan at the club. That it's not like they've been here for a long period of time. That's quite worrying.
Gary, what do you think Josh would report back to Stan at the end of the season?
I mean, going into this season, I assume they had discussions as to where they see the team going. So if you're coming into this season, I think one of the things you're probably expecting is, look, last year we had depth issues, right? That was it. Arteta's excuse might have been not excuse, but his analysis of how the season went. Look, we're missing some depth, and that's a problem for us. It seems our depth wasn't at center back; it was at full back because we went there. We went to midfield. We want to improve that. Havertz, I don't know what he answered, what questions he was answering for us, and then later on Raya. So like Raya. So we have a goalkeeper issue now. Once again, how many times we brought in a goalkeeper? What? How many times now? 2-3 times under Arteta.
I think somebody said 6.
And every time we're going, I didn't think we had a problem with our goalkeeper.
We've got through 6 keepers, I think.
Yeah. So like we brought in, but I mean we brought in starting goalkeepers twice, right? At least 2 times, right? When you bring in Ramsdale, you bring in Raya. They're essentially starters that are going to compete for the starting positions.
Yeah.
Matty Ryan wasn't long term for Arsenal, and Unison and Turner weren't considered long for Arsenal either. Like, and then and you let probably let the best goalkeeper go. So like I said, so coming into the season, those are the questions those are the analysis of that year, and now you're looking at it, you're like, we are threatening. Like the team right behind us is a team that just gave up their best player in a very long time. Right?
Yeah.
And they've got more injuries than we do in terms of importance to their squad. They're 1 point behind us. They look much better than us. They play much better football than us. What are you doing, Arteta? Like if you're an owner, you're looking at this. What are you doing, Arsenal? What are you doing? Because the teams that are chasing you down look much better than you do.
Yeah.
So like at some point you have to go, is 4th place, are we even set up to win 4th place right now? And the answer is no.
That is going to be
if that was at least the goal for the season, is to maintain and compete in all 4 fronts and stay up in the top 4 competing for a championship, a trophy. Right now I don't see that. So as an owner, you like, do you just let do you just let it go to the end of the season and then reevaluate, or can you fix it now? If you can't fix it now, then you just have to see this one out. And do you want to spend money to do that? I don't think money is going to make a difference. I mean, they're talking. I saw like something about Nketiah being part of some deal, but they 30 mil or whatever it is.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah. So for me, if you're owner and you're watching this, none of this looks good. If you really are thinking we need to maintain a certain we need to be in a certain place in the league for me to continue doing this. And right now, we're not looking like top 4 is an easy thing for us, because I don't see how he changes this right now.
And like some people said, we 1 goal from 65 chances in this.
Mm.
Admittedly, it's a very, very poor run of form here. 3 losses in a row
I'd
after a credible draw at Anfield. Yes, Dan.
I'd like to
One
follow
win
up on
and
something that
7.
Gary was saying, because Gary was making a comparison to our rivals Tottenham. And another comparison that I would make is that, the transfer window has only just opened. As Gary mentioned, they've sold their best striker in ages in Harry Kane. They've got Son, who's just gone off on international duty, and they know they've
Yeah.
got Richarlison, and they know that Richarlison's not the answer. And what have they done? They've already tried to do something about it, and they've brought in Timo Werner. Now, whether you
Yeah.
believe Timo Werner is a good player or not, it's another story. But they're actually actively trying to fix their problems. We've known about our striker issues for a long time. We know that Eddie's not the answer, and we know that Gabriel Jesus isn't getting us the goals. And yet, we're still no closer to fixing that problem.
And we've got into another season where we spent 105 million on a player. You need to look at giving those players the striker that they can pass to, that can put it in the net. Because I think you can coach and practice all you like until you get to that final step, and then those players need to be responsible for taking their chances and finishing the dinner. Tony?
As I go back where Gary was on the goalkeeper, got a little bit of the Goldilocks syndrome there, where Arteta's like, ooh, a little warm, a little cold. But here we are also on our third goalkeeping coach. And to me, have we really improved since Leno? Because Leno's last full year as goalkeeper, we had 35 different lineups at center back. And you need a set of center backs that they're what they're going to do. And Leno wasn't very good at communicating, so you have these players just running all around, and the goalkeeper's very vulnerable. I think it could have
We
been solved a long time ago.
we do have the center backs in front of the goalkeeper. So, Gabriel and Saliba is a solid foundation.
I'm saying at that time we didn't, though. We went through all
Yeah.
those different.
Right. Now, I think both David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale are upgrades on Bernd Leno. It would be hard for me to think that either one are worse than
You
Bernd
think
Leno.
we're better shot stoppers?
I think Ramsdale is definitely, yeah. Moss said exactly, Stan. I'm mad at the stubborn tactics subs, but Arteta got us here. He needs to figure out how to get to the next level and better finishing. Come on, you young gunners. Questions are coming in my head. Has Mikel Arteta taken us as far as he can?
Yeah, and that's the question for the ownership, right? Do they feel like they may have seen the tip of the iceberg, and this is it? Everything's downhill from here because the pressure's going to be on. Like every time he has a pressure situation, we kind of seem like we fall here. We have an opportunity to extend the lead at the top of the table. We don't do it, right?
Yeah.
We have an opportunity to maybe take a lead take the lead in the table. Can't do it. Today we had an opportunity to go further in a cup. Couldn't do it. Against West Ham, couldn't do it.
You have a brilliant opportunity to knock out one of the favorites for the FA Cup at home. You get rid of Liverpool today in the FA Cup, you're going to get a draw. More than likely, you get a draw that will be beneficial to you to move forward into the next round after the next round, And we didn't take it. We didn't have that urgency. We didn't have that killer touch. And Ian Wright, I think, tweeted, "We need killers." He's sitting up there in the stands. He's looking. And Ian Wright knows what's needed up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
we
again,
need killers.
Didn't you have Klopp using his academy kids, and Arteta's not went to one of them?
This is a problem with Arteta. He's not willing to suffer.
It's not suffer. Why is it suffering?
because he's the quest for perfection, Gary.
He, oh my God, I don't even know where to go with that one. I
Come
don't
on,
even know where to
Gary.
go with that one. If
You
it's,
start. He started the first 30 minutes saying very weird things. So
I don't know what he means
Ray,
by that.
Ray,
Thank you,
That's just,
Ray,
Tony. Thank
I'm
you.
like, I'm lost
Ray
for
can
words because
say
I'm
one
like,
odd
I don't know
thing.
what that even means.
It's like Martinelli didn't get enough ball. Well, he did get enough ball in the second half. Moss said, yeah, easily stand. Brilliant play. First half, no finish. Some of our approach play is wonderful. We play great football. As a team, we play great football.
Yeah.
We're one of the most attractive teams, and maybe I'm biased because I'm watching it in the country. But it means nothing if you can't score. Again, we lose it. We lose a game where our expected goals is 1.67. Our expected goals were 1.67. Liverpool's was under 1, and we are
Do you know,
soft again.
That
do you know
that
what it's
that'd be
like
like
at the
being
moment?
the. Go ahead.
You know, it's like for us at the moment. It's like we've got a gun with no bullets. It's all for
Mhm.
show. We're doing all that spinning around stuff and all of that, but there's no danger because we don't have any bullets. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything, right? It's just all
Yeah.
for show.
One more
But
clinical player puts them away. Tony, go ahead.
I was
It's
going
awesome.
with another sport. I was going with golf in here. It's like you're great at driving the ball. You're great at
Get it on the
fairway
green.
play,
Yep.
but you pull out the putter and you're fucking knocking it into the sand hazard. And you just straight
Yeah.
into the sand trap.
You can get on first base, but you can't get to second base. That can be baseball or other terms if you want. Erdegaard, first time labeled that crossbar, 2 inches lower when we went. And look, Trent hit the crossbar as well, you know.
Come on, bless him.
But Liverpool were living off scraps in the first 60, 65 minutes. And it kills me to have to say Jota came on again and impacted the game in their favor.
Does that a lot against us? Okay.
So we have to face up to the Liverpool memes of Jota owning Arsenal. You know, sometimes it weighs heavy, this badge on your chest when you're an Arsenal fan. Jesus has lost his pace and sharpness after that first injury layoff. He's not the same player. With Eddie as the main alternative, it isn't good enough. Eddie would not start for any rival. And look, I don't think Balogun's any great shakes, but maybe Eddie should have been sold and Balogun should have been kept. You know,
We
at least he would.
needed potential, and Kedia doesn't have any potential left that we can tap into. You know, that was the difference. That's why for me it was easy to hold on to a player who you don't know where they're going to go from here in terms of will they kick on or not. And it wasn't going to cost you anything. In Kedia, I don't think anybody here believes that. Guess what? You're going to see something special from him that we just haven't been able to figure
No,
out yet. Nothing about, the potential is one thing. He has none. We know exactly what he is.
he's reached his level.
He's not going to get any better in whatever you need, right? Because he
Yeah.
doesn't have it. So it was like for me, these players that we hold on to, it's not necessarily only that it's easier on the money, on the financials for us. It's that they're taking a spot, they're taking an opportunity from somebody else. Like at some point, Nathan and Wary and Sousa and Skelly and all these and all these players and Walters, you give them a chance because guess what? You're not getting it from the players you have. You're not expecting anything special at this point from a lot of these players, right? You don't trust them anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if so I don't know. I just
Klopp seems
it's
to
a
trust
big
Optimistic.
it's a big question.
answers.
Arteta, I don't know, can answer it.
Stan.
You're just saying you look at the difference with Liverpool that Klopp seems to trust some of his youngsters because they seem to get their opportunities.
Yep.
Whereas ours, we'd rather go to
Exactly.
Brazil and buy an unknown than actually give someone that we're nurturing that's under our watchful eye an opportunity. And I don't understand that. Why we keep leapfrogging. If they're no good in the academy, if they're not that good, then get rid of them. and bring in other kids that might be any good. There's no point in just keeping them just for the sake of it if you're going to keep buying in players over to leapfrog.
Look, Emil Smith Rowe, we know that kid's got talent, but he's not going to realize it if he doesn't get the minutes. Coming on really late, bizarre decisions, says Riddy. The Rumbler here, right? I'll say it. Arteta out. He ain't taking this any further. Get that Payala munching ball bag out. Emil Smith Rowe, give him a start.
It's a bit strong for a Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all all pretty tame language, but put it together and
Well, just think about it. Marquinhos cost $3 million, whatever it is, pounds or euros, whatever, and that was supposed to be because that means we're going to get better players.
Yeah.
Or keep what player have we gotten from that deal? We spent $3 million. Supposedly that will help us get a tap into some new players from that region, right? What player have we bought from that region that Marquinhos is from? No. Since we got Marquinhos, though, like you would have thought we would have bought in a player. Yeah. Like Hunga and Nuno, Savage. I mean, you got all these players that whenever they take a risk on a player, like, oh, maybe they will hit lightning in a bottle or something like that, it never works. Like for me, you spent your time and due diligence and put your money in front of Ajax for Timber, and all of us go, that was money well spent, right? That's the cost of Lakanga, and Nuno and Marquinhos, and maybe one other player, right? 3 players we brought in. Now, at this point, we need to bring in a player that hits and works for us, like day one. Like not, I gotta wait a year. I already said this last season. We don't have time to bring in a project now. You don't finish second and then want to build on it and go, guess what? In a year from now, when you figure it out, we'll be ready. That's why Havertz made no sense, because he was not coming in ready to go. There's nothing you could, based on the 3 years before that, nothing he was doing was like, all right, well, he'll just kick on with us, right? Mm-hmm. Like Madison, he looked like a player that was going to kick on with the next team he played for, and he did.
Yeah, but he's injury prone as well.
No,
but be careful of that.
Injury prone. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether they don't have injuries or not. It seems
it does matter.
That it doesn't. Everybody that we brought in has been injured.
So you're going to go get another one?
No, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. We bring in Partey, never been injured. We bring in Rice, never been injured. Right? We bring in Timber, never been injured. It doesn't matter. That
Zinchenko had injuries before. Tony told us. Zinchenko had Jesus. Jesus,
what player we had brought in that hasn't been injured? They've all been injured, right?
Yeah. So, I don't think there's an injury curse at Arsenal, to be fair. Sam said, I guarantee you the main target is top 4 in Champions League football. As long as he meets that target, he's staying until the fans start leaving the stadium empty, like with Wenger.
Yeah. Right now, that top 4 is going to be tough the way we are playing.
There's 2 spots. Like there's 2 places we're fighting for.
Yeah, and when there's a lot of teams that we can't beat Fulham. We can't beat West Ham. We barely beat Luton Town. So tell me what you've seen in the last 8 games, do you go, all right, that's the Arsenal that's going to get us top 4. Yeah. It's hard to find it.
Hard to see it right now.
Hard to see it. Are you going to start asking the hard questions of Arteta? Because for some reason, he's pretty much got a pass from everybody.
Who's going to ask that question, Josh? Is that what you're saying?
Fans, anybody. Nobody.
I don't know. I don't know what where the fans are feeling about this right now. Some will a lot of fans accept this, beaten by a Liverpool team, half a Liverpool team, no Salah, no Van Dijk, a lot of kids in there. It's got to bring a lot of criticism to Mikel Arteta and a lot of pressure on him as well. Stan Kroenke probably didn't even know we were playing today. Maybe Josh knows though. You know what I mean? Personally, expensive Sunday League players have been signed by this manager. He's accountable by how they perform.
See, the thing is, it's almost like for every 100 million that you spend on a Declan Rice, there's another 100 million that you'll spend on a Teabag and a Kai Havertz.
It's needed
Do you know what I mean?
somewhere else. Yeah.
Well,
And-
they don't answer the question.
The identification of
Not
talent.
like the immediate question is who's going to fill in behind in Erdogan. Vieira doesn't do that.
Boys.
Who's going to
Wow.
replace Xhaka or our center forward Havertz? No, he doesn't answer that question, right? Because nothing that they've done in the past says, look, they're going to answer the question.
But what was it, Stan? We went through 27 players and only 4 of them were decent signings that we agreed upon.
Yeah, I miscounted. Yeah, if we're referring to the list, there are 25 players that he signed, and I counted only 5 of them that I could hand on heart say has worked out for one reason
Yeah.
or another, even if it's because of lack of appearances, right? It hasn't worked out then. No matter how good a player is, if we can't use that player, it hasn't worked out. And you know, and you look at the goalkeeping situation. No matter if you love Raya or if you like Ramsdale, it hasn't worked out because if it had worked out, we wouldn't have brought in David Raya and we'd be sticking with the one that we had. So there are a lot of reasons, but mainly it's just that there's so many players that haven't worked out. You know,
Boise said.
like,
Sorry, Stan.
guys like Saka and Martinelli, they're not on that list, right? Because they're players that were already here. A Saliba, for example, isn't on that list. He was already part of things. But the 25 that Mikel Arteta has actually brought in, whether that be signings or loans, and you know, there's a lot of names on there, right? You've got your Willians, you know, you've got your Austin Trustees. You know, these are all people that have sort of like been in and come out again. Matt Turner in and out, you know, Lukonga, Tavares, Mari, Cedric Suarez. There's a lot of people on that list, and like it's just like what a lot of dross.
Yeah, look,
You know,
Tony's been talking about the academy players for a bit now, and there's got to be some academy players out there that have more raw talent than some of our first team players, and they've got to be given a chance.
And another thing, going back to the goalkeeping thing, is like if you would have like 6 to 8 players that you tried out as your striker and failed, you would be okay with that. But changing goalkeeper that many times makes no sense. Because to me, you still haven't improved in any.
Boys said they probably put so much into last season that's catching up this season. I'm not buying that one, Boise. These are 20. These are young 20-year-olds.
That doesn't happen to Man City, does it?
Yeah,
They don't have, you know, they don't do really well in one season and it all catches up to them and they're shite. They just do it again. They do their jobs.
I mean, I could say if you did what Liverpool did and went to every game of the season possible in 4 competitions, then you can have a season off. Maybe City are going to have a season off. Maybe City are going to fall away in the FA Cup, and this defeat will look all the worse to us in May because Liverpool could be in a final. You know what I mean? That we should have been given the chances that we had today to beat Liverpool. You know, we go 1-0 up, we likely don't lose this game. It's always
Exhibit A. What did we do last game?
we went a goal up.
And what happened?
We lost the game.
That's the problem with this whole thing. We are like
I
go by what I see, and what I've seen doesn't bode
I can
well
neither
for...
confirm or deny that Exhibit A, Gary. That's pretty good evidence right there. If we do not bend this American model of ownership in the next 3 years, we'll be back to our mediocre days. Mr. Tom, you're still in the FA Cup.
What does that mean exactly? I don't understand what that means.
If we did, like,
I don't understand because our owners, you know, they have a big portfolio, don't they, of other teams and stuff.
You know what the American model of ownership looks like? Look at Chelsea.
The portfolio seems to be doing really well, isn't it? They seem to be
I don't think
in their other field or sport.
I don't think it's the
I
ownership.
don't understand what that means. What is the American model? I don't know if I've missed something. I'm not being sarcastic. I don't understand what it
I'm
means.
kind of
What
in the
is
same boat with you,
what is the
Stan.
American model?
Gary, can you make any sense of what
I can
really
only
is?
assume he means what Bowley's doing, because that's the only thing that's not typical of what an owner would do, right? Because
We're not doing what
we're
Bowley
paid.
does.
We are we are letting the managers pick the
Don't let them
players.
escape,
Giving
Tony.
them,
They'll come
backing
back
them
with
up.
the police. You've got to stop them.
I've
Uh,
Don't let
muted.
them out.
I've
Don't let them
muted
escape,
whatever's
Tony.
going on there in that
That'll be the
bottom
end of
right-hand
it.
corner. I've
yeah.
muted.
No,
I've muted it.
it's for me. It's at some
Someone's
point.
making
It
a
is
run for it.
we talk about it, accountability like that. That's what. If there's anything, that's what needs to change, right? Like if this is what they expected, then we're in trouble. But if they aren't happy with it, then they need to make a change. And that's where the accountability comes in. But I don't know what American model of ownership looks like. As we all said here, they are. You want an owner that backs your manager. That we got that
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Um, I think this is a longer term project than we want it to be. Right. They are probably weren't planning for top 2 last season. Right. That probably was not on the card. That wasn't something they thought
Sure.
they would have to
Yeah.
deal with.
Yeah.
Top 4, isn't it? At least, I think.
So there, as people said, are they going to be just happy with top 4? You know, if they're going to be happy with top 4, and it'll be no different than it was when Wenger was here
Do
at
we
the end,
accept that?
and that would be the American
No, I
ownership.
mean,
But we've only seen it
last
once,
season.
so it's
Should
hard to say.
should we as fans accept that we're only going to be a top 4 team this season? You know.
Nope, not acceptable.
I don't think teams. I don't think fans go for just just getting there. You know.
Because this is why we went on the venture, because we weren't competing for a title. So why is it okay to spend 5 or 6 years dicking around with Arteta and we're still not any better?
I think he's taken us to a certain level, you know, and I've said that already on this podcast, and I'll probably say it again. Maybe he has taken us to a certain level, and you know, we
Really?
can't
What do you
seem to
think?
compete with City or Liverpool. You know, it's natural to be
Because they
happy.
have a better,
Go ahead.
have more tools. They've got more tools at their disposal, haven't they? Those 2 teams, I think. You know, they've got more. They've got
Because
more of a variety
well,
of things of toys to play with than we have.
well,
Do you
they've
know what I
spent
mean?
they've spent more wisely than we have. They've acquired the players.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
They don't take as big a risk, and I mean like spending tons of money, but they don't necessarily go out there and just bring in players that aren't going to answer, right? They're not going out there buying a Laconga and Nuno Tavares and Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira. I mean, all these players we talk about, like we knew day one they weren't going to answer the call. Like day one,
But
like you didn't need to see them play a full season to go, well, this is going to work, right? I see some potential there. I mean, we didn't need to wait. I mean,
look at
that's
Liverpool. They finished 7th, totally retooled, and
midfield,
now they're first in the league.
which
and
they needed to.
they had Gakpo ready to go, right? Early.
Liverpool.
Gakpo answered.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
And the difference is
Yeah.
that Man City will turn up with a player like an Oscar Bob or a Jeremy Doku who you've never heard of, and they'll be straight in the first team, and they'll be like contributing. They don't end up going out on loan like a Nuno Tavares coming back
Right.
for a pre-season,
And
going
look,
out on loan again, not being able to get any money for them, and trying to work out a deal. And you know what I mean? Can we pay this amount now? And pay? They don't have any of that. They seem to get these players in, and they go straight into the team and they contribute. You know.
mm-hmm. This is all down to the owners are supplying money or allowing the club to use their money sustainably. But Edu and Arteta are not identifying, in some cases, not identifying the right kinds of players to take us forward. And here we have Liverpool coming into our backyard again, pushing us around, getting a goal up when we couldn't score our goal early. and then accepting that they're going to use yellow cards in order to stop us from scoring in the last 3, 4, or 5 minutes of the game. And it's usually frustrating when that happens. Leno, Martinez, Ramsdale, and Raya. And look, we talked about this. I was more open to trusting Arteta when it came to the goalkeeper, but it has become a distraction this season. 80 million on goalkeepers plus wages. It got rid of the best keeper we had since Seaman. That was probably Emi Martinez you're talking about there, Stephen. And Martinez was
about Matt. We're talking about Runnison.
Steven said, didn't see the match today. Well, I guess
That's a good thing, man. You
be
don't want to see.
thankful. Be thankful, exactly. But Arteta's handcuffed his team from the
Watch
first
the first
game.
15 minutes, then just turn off.
Yeah, we could easily have had more draws and losses. Right now, I cannot see us qualifying for Champions League. If I only saw the first 15 minutes of the game and the power went out and I couldn't see any more of the game, I would have probably said, oh, we probably won today.
4-0.
4-0, maybe 2-0 at least. I remember when Santi Cazorla scored against Liverpool 5-6.
But it's crazy. Liverpool brings on 2 academy players, changes the last 25 minutes of a game, and they give a win.
Well, look, you're gonna have injuries, and every club's gonna have injuries, and we've had kids sitting on our bench for games, and they've not come in to help. You know what I mean? We've had academy players sitting there just making up the numbers.
How do you stay as an Arsenal academy player if you know you're not gonna get any chances? When we've had record numbers leaving, and now you can see why, because none of them give a chance.
He's making Per Mertesacker's job quite difficult.
Is the big fucking German? I always bring it up anyways. Is the big fucking German that bad as his job?
No, I think Arteta's making it untenable for him. I wouldn't say very little debt. Stan takes money out of the club as well for services. They don't. They do a full review and deep dive of our youth coaching and recruitment, which has degraded. We hear about players like Patino and BRF out on loan. Sousa. We hear about these players in the academy. Oh, these are good talents. Will we ever see them in this first team?
Yeah, I mean, guess who scored in the FA Cup?
Who?
From our academy.
Who?
Guess.
Nwaneri.
Charlie Patino scored.
Patino, yeah, he did. Yeah.
So we got academy players with more goals than our team in the FA Cup. Come on.
Our youth team is one of the best in the country. Some of the players coming through are very good and go on loan. We have a few very good prospects. Yes, our debt is little compared to others. Compare our youth setup to Man City's.
All of that means nothing if you're still if you feel like you're not even going to get a chance to win a trophy out of it. You know, like all this financial thing. You know, like being where we are and like it's looking really dire right now. That we're going to see this season out with a trophy. I mean, that's what it seems like. Tough.
Nigel, you gave us a good game. To be fair, listen, we played you well, but we don't have the cutting edge to take a goal lead against Liverpool. Owners take something out of club. All users do. Nigel, you didn't crave much before the second half. Our second half was pretty poor, and your finishing is way better than ours. You took your chances. And look, this is how we feared it would go down. Arsenal play well. Didn't take the chances. Liverpool, when they get the chance, or maybe any other team against Arsenal, when they get the chances, they'll score. How did Peterborough do today? I think we could have used Bamford today, Tom. We could use Patrick Bamford up front. He scored a worldie.
That's where we are right now. Patrick Bamford is we're like praising him.
Yes. It's gonna be a good show tomorrow. Stan?
Another good thing that youth can do for you is, and I'm going to use Manchester United as an example. when you're in a situation where you've got your mainstay players and things aren't going right, and you're wondering why your goalkeeper is so shit and throwing the ball in, and you're wondering why your manager is making certain decisions about things, or maybe saying that this player can't play in the team anymore, and everyone's arguing with each other and all of that. And then you give a youth player a chance, like a Garnacho, they come onto the pitch and they don't care about all that other stuff that I just mentioned. They don't care about any of that sometimes. They just want to play football. And they're like, give me the ball. I want to play football.
Mm.
And you see someone like Garnacho, I think it was a couple of matches back where he just took the game by the scruff of the neck. And sometimes youth, by doing that, can shake out the other players, and the other players snap out of it and like, yeah, we should be playing football. Look at this kid showing us up when we should be doing it ourselves. And maybe by giving some of our youth a chance, it may make some of our other players not be so prima donna-y about certain things. And, oh, I don't like playing in this position. I prefer playing in this position. And, oh, I don't want to track back. I want to press all the time or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I want to keep venturing into the midfield instead of taking up my defensive duties as a left back. Maybe putting some youth in and that who maybe just want to play football, and will go back to basics, might help the other players, like, you know, fix up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Hendon Gunners mentioning other managers. I will be honest and say in recent weeks I've come up with a couple of managers that I thought if Arsenal need to press the emergency button and get a new manager, they're probably candidates. I don't know. Have any of you thought about another name other than Arteta? No.
Alan Pardew comes to mind. No, I haven't. Alan Pardew is the first name. No, I haven't. I've not spent any time on that at all. I'm surprised.
I got a couple of names in the Premier League that wouldn't be against coming to Arsenal. I think, you know what I mean. But
what does anybody have any confidence that Arteta's make the changes needed to get us in any good position this season?
We have a window here. We can do something.
That's why it's important to decide if we're going to stay with Arteta, and then are we going to give him some money to make the difference, or are we just going to do, dead man walking kind of thing and just say,
yeah, but we really don't have the money.
You built this ship, it's all yours. We'll see how it goes at the end. I kind of feel like that's a waste, right? That's
Over
a waste
to
of an
Edu.
opportunity. It's a waste of an opportunity if they think they can get something out of this season, not to support Arteta.
Yeah.
And just to let him handle it by himself, right?
We know he's not getting sacked this month, right, Gary?
Well, that's the problem right there. So if he's not going to get sacked, then he should get supported. And we all think he needs a striker. So go get the man a striker. If you don't think he needs a striker, make sure you fix the midfield. Do something. You can't just do nothing. Do
exactly. Something. Over to Edu, Gary. Over to Edu now.
Edu, yeah. Well, if he's allowed to, I've heard some weird things. I don't get which one is true, but supposedly I thought Arteta could just the ownership could just bring in like 100 mil to support the team in whatever way that to support the team, for example, to purchase players supposedly every 3 years. But I haven't heard anybody say no. I just heard everybody say the sustainability rules is the reason why we can't support.
We spent a lot over 3 years, and it goes in 3-year bands.
Yeah, but did we spend that 100 mil though? Because a lot of it doesn't. I don't know if that's something we've done.
We spent a third of it already to West Ham for Declan Rice.
But I'm just saying, did we actually put in the 100 mil, or was that just revenue that we had because we're in Champions League and all of that?
No, we have to move players before we can do anything this month, this window.
I guess you didn't hear a word I said then. What I'm talking about had nothing to do with player sales.
Well, I'm trying to understand what you're meaning with the.
My understanding is that
he's trying to say we have this 100 million mystery fund that supposedly
can bring in, and so if that's not true, then
it's not there, Gary.
Okay.
You can take all the cushions off the sofa and stick your hands down.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, but that's fine. It's all right. You're not listening to what I'm saying. If we can't do it, then this can't be done. That's what I'm saying. I think we have the money to do it. I just don't think if that's not an actual rule, then we can't do it. That's
The
all.
only way we can do it is post
We've been
sales.
spending money left and right,
Yeah.
but we haven't been getting any money in. We've been buying out
Yeah.
contracts, blah, blah, blah. That's why we're in the financial fair play where we're at. So we have to sell people to do anything. And who you sell's will be the question. For Ray, I know you were wanting Tony forever. Now they've slapped $100 million ridiculous fee for him.
You just don't get anything for a decent amount of money anymore, Tony. You know.
Well, if you can't get Tony, then you still can fix the team somewhat, right? Maybe
But-
if you
Get
have
a
a better
striker.
maybe if you have a better midfield, you have better you have better chances. You have
No.
better looks at goal, right?
We
Because
need a
right
striker.
now, well, it doesn't matter if the midfield sucks. That's my problem.
No,
the
we're
midfield-
making chances, Gary.
If the-
We're
no,
making
we're
chances.
But
making chances
midfield
that
didn't look
our
bad
players
today.
are not getting enough time to put a shot out. Every shot we take is after an extra touch because either the pass is bad, right, or the
I didn't see.
yeah. So
I didn't see bad passes coming to Havertz. When you have it on your left, you need to shoot first time.
yeah.
When it comes to your right, swing the leg at it. You know.
I don't see the defense or the midfield as the problem. It's the attack.
The
I just
attack,
think
and
yeah.
we need a striker. The team is crying out for a striker. And Tony, how
We
many
need two
players?
strikers, Ray.
How many players do we need to sell, Tony?
It depends who you sell. If you can
I know.
get
How
the
much money do we need to generate? 50, 60 million?
for closer to 60 probably.
Closer to 60, yeah. So Edu's got to generate 60 million, where he hasn't been able to do it in how many windows? You know?
So you got does Eddie and Smith Rowe get you the money? Are you
Nope.
still a little
Smith
short?
Rowe, maybe. Smith Rowe. We're going to get into a situation now where we're going to sell players that some fans don't want to sell.
They're not doing it for us.
Do you really
They're not
believe?
doing it for us. Like Nketiah is not doing it for us. Milster Rowe not doing it for us. Reece Nelson not doing it for us.
Are they being given the opportunity to do it?
Ray,
It doesn't even matter. They're not
do
doing
you-
it for us. So
Ray,
what's
do
the
you
point of
really
holding on to
believe
them
that-
for?
Do you think that Palace is really interested in Eddie for 30 million when they want to pay his wages when he's on 70 grand a week? Now he's on 100 grand a week.
I think Crystal Palace could probably be tempted to go and get Eddie for 30 million. They're going to probably sell Elise and Eze. They're probably going to sell those two players. Now, whether they're going to Arsenal or not, they're probably going to a Liverpool or a City, you know. But Crystal Palace could generate some funds this January and use some of those funds for Eddie and Nketiah. And then we have an opportunity maybe to go and get a cut price striker, you know, one
Yeah,
that's
but you
not,
still have to sell one more player. So is that Smith Rowe?
it could be
else do you-
Ramsdale, Tony. Yeah,
Why
it could be
can't
Ramsdale.
why can't we just, like Kylian Mbappe, we can offer him a pre-contract, right? But I don't care that he'll probably say no. I'm not interested in going to Arsenal. I don't care that he's got loads of baggage. Don't care that he's a whiny bitch. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? That his salary, even though he'd be free, his salary would probably like break the bank. But why can't we just have a show of intent to the world? He's available. He can be offered a pre-contract. Why can't we just make the offer? Even though he turns it down, but it's a show of intent.
But that's the problem,
How do
Stan.
we know that we wouldn't be able to? We'd make an offer, and how do we know that he might not go? All right then. You know, how do we know that we can't make an offer and Edu and Mikel Arteta can try and talk him into it? Because that's their fucking jobs, is to convince people to come here. You can't just wait for people to. They can't wait for people to just turn up like Odd and Wingy in the car and say I'm ready to sign, or do an Aubameyang and go to Barcelona. It's a show of intent. That's what I would do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We've been showing the intent. We keep on flirting around with these $70-80 million rated players, and we haven't brought any of those strikers
Yeah,
in.
but
We just
the
have
one
the
that we
talks.
brought in for over 100 answered is giving us what we want, right? So
Yeah.
maybe the 70 mil players aren't the answer because we can't close the deal. Maybe we're gonna have to spend a little bit more, right?
I actually feel bad for, I know Declan Rice is a big boy and he made his decision to come to Arsenal, but I wonder, he's going to keep working hard. And, we've got a Champions League to play, last 16. I think we'll get through Porto, but if we get to a quarterfinal, that was my original. Get to a quarterfinal, that was my original.
When was that
intent.
your original day one of the season, or
Yeah,
like last week?
no, day one of the season.
Mm.
And around about December, I was like, we're probably one of the top 4 teams left in the competition. We
This is
should
no, but
really,
so day one you said quarters.
yes. I didn't post it up on Twitter like you
Yeah,
did,
you just
but
thought about it right in the back of your head. You weren't confident it was
you've
a good
been
thing
here
to
the
say
whole
out loud.
time. You heard me say
I
it.
don't think I heard you say it at the beginning of the season.
You heard me say it at the beginning of the season, quarterfinal.
I just told you I don't remember you saying
I
it at the
told
beginning of the
you, and you
season.
didn't hear it. I told you, and you didn't hear it, Gary.
But it won't that
I'm gonna
be
start treating
something?
Gary like the way he treats me. Okay.
But isn't that kind of a big thing that we should be doing with the Target McSurler Cup tied? Because I
With
say it,
Ramsdale,
I said it. No, I said it during the summer. Is that
Stan's laughing for some reason.
no? But I said it in the summer that I thought we had more chance of winning the Champion League than we did staying or keeping in the top 4.
Right. Let's
So,
we're gonna put that one to the ultimate test, Tony. You're gonna see it this season. Who's right?
but
You
that's
know
what
what I
I'm
mean?
saying. So will that be a main thing on your targets, the upper tier targets that aren't cup tied to the Champions Leagues? Because really, that's our best shot at this point.
Champions League.
Yep.
Yeah, look. If we're 5 points behind the leaders right now in the league. So while I don't think we're going to win the league because we're 5 points behind and we lost 4 games already, I still think we're within touching distance of a Liverpool team that I keep thinking will hit the wall at some point and come back to us a little bit.
They just had probably the worst situation going into a game. They lost their best striker, their best center back,
Yep.
all right, their best number 6. They brought in a academy player to play center back, and we still couldn't score. So I don't see what you're talking about.
And then you had
Is
Klopp
it?
You don't
after the
see it
game.
right now, but do you think they will go through a season just having lost that one game, Tony or Gary? You know, I don't think they're going to win the league with just one defeat, and that defeat at Tottenham. That if they win the league with just that one defeat, they'll argue that they should be invincibles because
I think they are what they have a manager, just like if we say Pep is a manager, they can see through a season exactly like what you're talking about. Like if anybody can do it, you see the Pep or Klopp, right? Or Ancelotti, right?
But
Talking
right,
about some of the best managers in the world, you're asking them to do something, right?
yeah,
He's a manager
right.
that could get it done, right?
At
yep.
this point of the season, how many points does Liverpool and City usually lose? Not very many
No,
once you pass the halfway mark.
Yeah.
They put it on lockdown, cruise control,
yeah,
and know what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
And
that City
if you
team.
remember the way they finished last season and they struggled, right?
Yeah,
You struggled last season. Now you're saying, look, not only that, but you saw the way you finished last season. Now, guess what? Now you're sitting at the top of the table.
this FA Cup was probably our best chance of a piece of silverware
Mhm.
this season. BX says, I hate to say it, this was an indicator we won't win silverware this season unless we go on a 1,000,000-to-1 run, as Tony's talking about in the Champions League, all the way to Wembley. But that's just wishful thinking. Look,
I don't think it's that hard.
it's a cup competition. You need a little bit of luck, and you're right. It's not as difficult as in the Premier League, probably, Tony, because you're not only going on a game-to-game basis, but you have 2 opportunities to get through a tie. Stan, I gotta find out what you're laughing about.
I just see your mates turned up. Your mates
Who's
turned up
that?
in the chat. Your mate, your mucker, your old pal.
I gotta check. I'm so far back. I gotta check who it is.
It just turned,
Dave, yeah, hard luck,
now.
lads. Dave's LFC chats. Hard luck, lads. Roll up the sleeves and go again. Yeah, but how many times does a fighter have to get knocked to the ground? It's not the fight in the dog, but the dog in the fight, right? Not the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog. There you go. I even said it wrong. Ray, regarding it's being accepted for
it's okay, Ray. I think Gary got you confused in the first 25 minutes. He was with us talking his nonsense. Did Gary get into his
I don't think Gary's communicating with you, Tony. He's communicating with you via me, I think,
Yeah, but he wasn't communicating very well the first 20 minutes. Nothing made sense. Especially when he was talking about
Gary's saying
Lloyd.
very disciplined. I commend your discipline, Gary. You're not taking the bait. Ray, regarding it being acceptable for the top 4 at the moment, no player gets older, lose value at the end of the team cycle. We are back to square one. Ben, the manager, I'll pay for a skip. I trust Edu and Arteta with a call when it comes to transfers. Their track record isn't great.
But how much are we have to spend with a new manager on new players? Because he probably won't get a tune out of all these different players.
Well, you bring a new manager in, you're gonna have some more turnover, of players. Stephen,
We're talking about a new manager before the season.
Gary on the sideline, huh?
I said I'm just very surprised, even though I am pissed off with the manager today. I'm surprised that people are talking about replacing him before we've actually got to the end of the season and they're able to make a fair assessment of where we are.
Well, we've exited a cup competition against Liverpool at home.
Why would you remove the manager at this point in the season of where we are and the amount of money that he spent? And it's not like we're sort of like bottom of the table and we're doing a Chelsea or some shit like that.
No,
and I can understand that why we're pissed off today, because I am, and as I've mentioned, that the manager isn't beyond reproach. But you can't be angry at him today without wanting him fired.
I think that you can.
The problem is.
Go ahead, Gary.
I was just saying the problem could be has he hit the ceiling, and that's where we're just seeing the downward, trend. Is that
we'll find out at the end of the season, won't we?
No, but as an owner, do you want to wait that long? That's what's going to make the decision, right? So as an owner, do you go, well, has he hit his ceiling? And if you think he has, do you wait till the end of the season to go, yeah, he has?
But right? Stan, you and Ray really value the cups. And this is the 3rd year in a row, our fastest exit from the domestic cups.
And it's the first. It's the first time we played at home.
It's all being noted. It's all being noted, but I would rather kind of look at the end of the season.
Yeah.
When the season finishes, if I'm going to make any drastic decisions, then do it at this point. Because it's not like we're fighting relegation or we're languishing in sort of like 10th place and getting humped every. You know what I mean? I'd rather wait until the end of the season where we can give a fair assessment and say, okay, let's see now we can see where all the dominoes have dropped.
There is room for him to improve, for Mikel Arteta to improve, for the club to go and get a striker if they need to do business in January and turn this thing around in the league. There's room to do that, but I don't see much evidence of it changing, especially based off of these 3 defeats, 2 of them in the league and 1 in the FA Cup. And at the end of the season, if something doesn't really happen in the league or the Champions League to change our minds from where we are right now, Mikel Arteta's, the owners should really be looking at him at the end of the season.
But Ray, 2 years ago we had where Edu and Arteta was saying we didn't sign any players because we didn't want to upset the project. But didn't they do exactly that by spending 63, 65, whatever Havertz was, because he's not something we needed. And the same could be said for Raya. It's like there's 90 million. That's a Osimhen, and your season's totally different.
Yeah.
But you brought in these 2 players you really didn't need that don't help for project, that probably ask more questions than they answer, and they've got it wrong and derailed the project by choosing 2 of the wrong players when they could have signed pretty much anybody and it would have safely put us in 4th place 2 seasons ago, or even last winter they could have spent the money and did something to improve our chances, because all of us were calling out for a clinical forward, as Stan was. I was saying striker. Gary was striker.
We are where we are because of decisions made to keep picking the same players that haven't been performing for us, especially in that number 9 position, Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus.
Havertz.
The continual, he looks at the bench and he doesn't want to bring Emil Smith-Rowe in earlier. Havertz, yeah.
Plays in that same position. It's not really worked. Trossard had a little bit of a shine there for a while, but nothing to make you say that, he's going to play there every single week.
But that's the thing with strikers, how you need to play it every week, though.
If we had a striker in there today, right?
Mr. Tom, I just ignored it because I let him have his shine.
Tom, you got some backup there, Gary, from Tom.
He's probably looking at that going, Gary, say something, please. I'm like, oh.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. The appetite, this defeat, and based off the other 2 defeats as well, the appetite will grow for a change.
I think Gary's performance the first 30 minutes was kind of like our performance the last 30 minutes of the game.
Who's this guy talking about?
You. We were talking nonsense, Gary.
It's not talking nonsense. You don't understand it doesn't mean it's nonsense.
VX said Arteta wasn't responsible for the missed chances, but he was waiting for far too long to make subs. It's another criticism of him. Stan, it's not about today. It's consistently inability to manage games regards to lineups and substitutions. We are where we are because we brought a keeper we didn't need.
I don't think one keeper is the reason why we played bad today, is it?
It's like
when things don't go right.
It's like when you're at a wedding, you go to the buffet with your paper plate, and there's loads of stuff you can pick, loads of vol au vents and stuff on tooth, fucking cheese and cubes on sticks, pineapple chunks, and you fill your plate up just because it's there, and you go and sit down, and you pick at it, and you leave loads of it and just waste it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Raya and Havertz. Overindulgence wasn't really needed, wasn't really required, but they were there, so we went and got them because they were there. Do you know what I mean? Now they just sat on the paper plate, curling up at the sides.
Is a major part of our problem this season is the evolution beyond Granit Xhaka, the acquisition of Havertz. and trying to work on that left 8.
It's not that hard though, Ray. You got players. You got Smith Rowe.
He
Yeah.
wasn't healthy.
You have Zinchenko. You got
Was
answers to play in that.
never going to play there. Wasn't healthy. Never going to play there. Right? Those 2 players.
Yeah,
But
he went out.
isn't he a midfielder, Ray? He plays there for his country.
That's not where he plays for Arsenal, Tony.
Because Arteta does weird things with
So that's why
players.
that's why everything's on the manager. It's not on the players.
You take fucking Partey and you start him off at right
back.
fullback
Yeah.
to start the season.
He's done some weird things. He has done some weird things. Things that you should be looking at in training. Play Partey right back in training.
The problem isn't that we sold Granit Xhaka. The problem is quite simply that he has failed to upgrade that player in that position adequately.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
he's made a mistake for whatever reason, and he's not brought in the right player that has the right attributes to fill that spot. And he doesn't believe that we have an existing player that has those attributes to fill that spot. And so far, it looks like he's right in that sense, because no one's managed to nail it down. You know, take a ticket. We can all have a go.
Trossard's been there. Havertz has been there. I mean, never really played Zinchenko in midfield or Emile Smith-Rowe, but Fabio Vieira's been there. It's never been that adequate. Okay, who rates Eddie Howe over Arteta, and would Arteta do a job at Newcastle? As outlined by that question from Stephen. If Eddie Howe and Arteta got sacked tomorrow, do you think the Newcastle board would call Arteta? I think Arteta's better coach than Eddie Howe. I'm just going to put that out there.
I don't know if they could search for Arteta there or not.
Would Newcastle call for Arteta? I mean, if he was available.
Maybe with Mikel Arteta is that maybe sometimes with his tactics he overthinks it a little bit too much, and maybe that puts a strain on the team because his tactics require some players, if not most of them, to do more than just one job. You know, like that saying, you had one job. Well, that doesn't apply to Arsenal players because a lot of our players have a couple of jobs. Some of them have a few jobs, and maybe that's what our problem is. You know, players are asking to do too much because every time, and I use it as an example, every time Zinchenko goes joyriding into the midfield, that means now Megalegs has to get over there if there's a danger, and now we've split the defense. And then when we split the defense, that means that Declan Rice has to drop even deeper to slot in, and then we're on the back foot.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's very deep, and if Declan Rice has dropped deeper, that means Odegaard probably had to have dropped a bit deeper as well to try and cover some more space. And then we're kind of like on the back foot. We didn't really.
It's a whole domino effect
that way last season. Last season we were seem to be on the front foot more. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see some of it.
We have a whole domino effect, you know.
Yeah,
because of that left side.
But today was like that first day that left side made very few mistakes, because especially in that second half, everything was
just
going down that left side. Gabriel was doing lots of long passes.
Just that free kick. Well, I had that feeling it was going to happen. I had the feeling they were going to get that goal in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, you know. What's the biggest criticism of Arteta? You got one criticism of Arteta. For me, it's his loyalty to certain players. Outweighs everything else. His way of looking at the team objectively.
Yeah, because he trusts players you shouldn't trust and gives no chances to those guys in the academy.
Yeah, he trusts players that's misplaced, and he doesn't allow that same trust to other players.
Havertz is definitely that square peg with Arteta's doing everything he can do to whittle it down and pound it through the hole. It's not working.
Is that what you see, Tony? Do you have something else that would be your main criticism of Mikel Arteta?
I think he's very fucking stubborn. He puts loyalties where they shouldn't. And he's not, like I said, he's stubborn, but he just doesn't want to give other people chances or look at the academy.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know.
On a positive note, we can concentrate in the Premier League and the Champions League. Yeah, that's not very consoling. Gary, what's your biggest criticism of Mikel Arteta?
I guess for one thing I can bring up is maybe his sense of urgency, just not there. Like sometimes when that just plays into pretty much a lot of the things that he needs to do. Like for me, a sense of urgency would have been to try to convince. If you can convince Saka to stay after what he went through, I would feel like I needed you to do the exact same thing again when you finally had his best season with you, and you had an opportunity to maintain that form in that squad, right? I think he just let him walk. I get it, but I think we needed him to do a little bit more there. This plays into the way that he approaches the game, right? Come into this game, as Stan said, you put your best 11 out there that you got. They don't have that availability. They don't even have those players, so they can't do that. Doesn't do it. The first half goes no different than the last game that you just saw. The last, 2 games that you just saw. Like you just saw similar things. Late, like a change at halftime was warranted, so you can get an extra period to make changes, right? He makes one change, and then he makes another one player, and then he makes another one player change. I mean, it's just, I don't know, sense of urgency for me. Like,
Okay.
obviously he thinks he has a lot of time on his hand. He can wait to see this thing out.
But what I left
Not
off
the way
was
not the way the team isn't playing. The team, and you know what? The team plays the same way. No sense of urgency from the team because they're taking that on from their manager. And they don't play they don't give 110%. There was no yellow cards from a player trying to just make a defensive play to get the ball back, None of that stuff. Like they don't have didn't they had a care in the world to try to get something out of this game. Their life depended on it.
Mm-hmm.
what I left off right.
Every time we look at other teams, it looks like they play that way.
Tony?
What I left off was substitutions and in-game management.
Yeah, you only got one. You only got one.
Okay, so okay, I'll stick with the mid.
I'm not looking for a list. I'm looking for your biggest grievance. Stan, what's
Did
your
someone say
biggest
list?
grievance? Huh?
Did someone say list? Did you say list?
Tony's list. Tony had a long list. Tony, you're healed up quite well. Yeah, go ahead, Stan.
I think mine would be that, Declan Rice and Gabriel Magalhaes notwithstanding, I would ask the manager to make better signings. Because I think there are far too many of his signings that either haven't worked out or they still have a question mark over them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask him and Edu, who's part of that department, to try and make better signings.
But didn't those two for you today, Rice and Gabrielle, seem like the only ones that were trying to strive and do everything they could to win in the second half?
Odegaard, I thought Odegaard was good today.
Yeah, but he cost him a win because he decided to play grab ass with the player and give away free kick, and they converted it.
Tony, I mean that happens all over the field. You either get a free kick or you don't get a free kick.
Not in a dangerous area like that. Not where he did it.
The problem is that he's doing what he did at the start of last year, where Odegaard was playing back in defense. He's not getting out of the defense. He's going to be back there.
Free kicks.
He's an attacking midfielder, right?
You have to defend. You have to defend those free kicks properly. Attacking
midfielder, should he be right next to Saliba? Because you'd see Saliba.
If you're defending, if the other team are attacking, and you have to follow your player back. Gravenberch was the player he was following back and covering.
But it was the whole entire game. You'd see Saliba and right to his right. you would see Odegaard, which shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wonder. I would love to go back and watch this game and see that Erdogan did what he did in the other game, where he set up a lot of good opportunities for us to
he
score,
did.
and
He did.
the players failed him once again. And once again, if he's the captain, at some point he needs to stand up and tell these guys, "Look, I'm giving you good opportunities. You need to finish." That's what a captain will have to do. At some
Yeah.
point, he's going to have to say, "If you're not going to do it, guess what? I'll just show you how it works, how to do
Yeah.
this thing."
Yeah.
He doesn't do that either. So for me, his leadership stops one way. Like, here, I've handed it off to you. You go do the business. At some point, somebody needs to stand up and say, "Look, this is my team. I'm the captain of this team. Let me show you how to do this," because that's what we need.
We're
We
we're
need
approaching.
we need somebody like that, because that's the problem. We don't have anybody standing up. Like, here, we give you the armband, but I don't want you to stand. I need you to stand up when the team needs it on the pitch,
We're
right?
approaching. We're approaching a season like 2016, where we had so many opportunities to score, and Olivier Giroud couldn't score in the end. You know what I mean?
You're talking about one player, and we're talking about the entire attack is toothless. Big difference for me.
How much would you like to have Giroud right now? He'd solve basically all of the problems.
Giroud would be perfect for this team, I believe, as a central striker. You know, Nigel said
24, 25-year-old Oliver Giroud right now would be a player with those attributes. 24, 25 years old right now would be a good alternative, wouldn't it?
he'd kill it. He'd kill it up there with Martinelli and Saka either side of Erdegaard behind them. You know, focus on the other cup, says Nigel. If you can win the European Cup, as you might, I hope you do. Your season will be very good, very, very good. And we have not won the Champions League in Europe. Arteta's too stubborn. He doesn't see his mistakes and continues like nothing is wrong. He would sooner lose than admit that the new style, Harvards and Raya, were all mistakes.
A government mule.
Lewandowski on a 6-month loan. BX been pushing this Lewandowski big time. The names will swirl around right now. I don't even know what it's looking like on X right now, but it's probably a lot of. I think Stan alluded to what's going on right now on X, on your timeline, but it's not looking
But
good.
that has to be
Anything about the manager.
But that has to be translated into like the game going fans at some point, because it seems like he can do whatever he wants at this point. He hasn't really got a backlash yet.
Yeah, it's all the players' faults. None of it is Mikel Arteta's fault. It's all the players' fault. Players sign themselves. The players pick themselves. The players worked out all the tactics and the formations. It's all their fault. Apparently, it can be a little from column A and a little from column B, right? You know, It's a collective. It's a team game. So
yeah.
Like you said, the players don't select themselves. They don't select the roles they're given. They're told what they do, so they go around and do it.
If it was me, maybe this is rash, right? But I wouldn't take them away on a warm weather trip now.
I said this at one point. I was saying this to someone, I believe, like, what reward? What do they do to give them a reward of, let's go to sunny Dubai, all happy and cheery, and get some, and get the football going? There's nothing that they've done that was they should be rewarded with that, right? Because they haven't earned it, right? You got to earn something like that. Like, you played really hard, you deserve this break.
Yeah.
These players need to stay home in England, work on their game, and in the atmosphere and the temperature and the environment that they're going to be playing in come the 20th,
right?
And get it back, right?
Right, you're a weather
take them
guy.
camping over to Hackney Marshes. That's what I would do in tents and shit. Have them running around Hackney Marshes.
Right. You're the weather expert amongst this.
Right.
So, what's the coldest, rainiest, part of either England, Scotland, or Ireland, or fuck, you might even go to Norway and say, "Here you go. It's cold as
Galway.
shit."
Go to west coast of Ireland.
West Coast of
Galway,
Ireland.
Galway or Clare. Send them to the Arctic. But I was thinking like a
Yeah.
tropical rainforest, Tony.
Somewhere
Where
Baltic.
it's humid and it's wet all the time.
I need one of the two. It's either cold and rainy or hot and rainy. One of the
Look
two.
at that. They're off to the airport straight after the game,
The
Where
most
would
these
you
players do not deserve
would you
right
send them to
now
the
are
Philippines, Stan?
nice fluffy Hilton bathrobes and slippers. They do not deserve that right now.
Go to the
Would
Lake
you-
District. Always rains there.
Would you send them to the Philippines since you used to live there? It's kind of a subtropical place.
Nice.
Mr. Tom, have a good evening, Mr. Tom. Leeds are into the next round. Arsenal are not. I don't care anymore about the FA Cup. So give me a couple of weeks of licking our wounds for 13 days here till we get Crystal Palace back at home. And something has to change in our mindset. Something has to change in our ability to put a ball in the net. This game is very simple at the end of the day. You play well, you put the ball in the net, you win games. You don't put the ball in the net, doesn't matter what your XG is. This team, including Arteta, don't deserve.
So there's a little chance that we'll see Eddie versus us in Crystal Palace in 2 weeks, right?
You mean Eddie lining up in Crystal Palace colors? Yeah.
Yep.
A little chance of that. Look, Nigel, the team with the conviction, the willpower, and the nous to win won today. The team.
Someone on Twitter is literally trying to explain to me that Mikel Arteta cannot physically run onto the pitch and put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't know that. Thanks for pointing that out. I think that's very clear to me now. Okay.
I think you go into a defense mode, right? Like you go into a defense mode because you've been in this stance of like believing in the manager, believing in the project, believing in what we're doing. And then you have not only this performance, but you have the two performances before. And if you want to look at the Aston Villa performance as well, where we played well, but we just didn't have that killer touch, put the ball in the back of the net. And that starts to loosen up your convictions a little bit. But the people who are replying to you, Stan, they firmly believe in Mikel Arteta and what the club are doing right now,
But Ray, we're at this point where we've won 1 out of our last 7 games.
7, yeah.
If you show up at work and you fuck up 3 weeks out of 4, you're gonna get sacked, right?
Yeah, I think if you don't get sacked, there would be people talking about you in other departments.
I mean, you're definitely at thin ice on a real job at that point.
Yeah. Look, in my industry, I can get outperformed. But you don't lose more than you win. Tony?
Yeah.
I don't know what Gary thinks about this, but, if you're not performing at work, Gary, people are going to start talking.
Yep.
And
Yep.
The results, if the results aren't there, it's going to look bad on you.
Yeah, that's where, the sense of urgency, the accountability isn't, at least from this team, isn't there. I think we feel that way. So, yeah.
Not really. I'm not happy. I'm not happy today. Arsenal losing does not make me happy, Reddy. Get it straight.
Can we talk about after the game? Because me and you had a laugh about it because it was just such bullshit as all the stuff that Karen Gibbs was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Tony, I was about to not know what to say next, so thank you. Yes, Kieran
They ripped
Gibbs.
Kieran Gibbs an arsehole, didn't they? They really fucking went on him, I thought.
Oh
Even
yeah,
my missus was
Craig.
like, bloody hell.
I mean, in a way, they were going to lay the boot in anyway, Stan. But Kieran Gibbs set him up perfectly with this pie in the sky stuff about we've come to a certain
What
level.
we've done with the last 4 or 5 years.
Has been very good, right? Something like that. Set the table, Tony. Tell us all about it.
Oh, yeah, you have him sitting there, and they kind of go to him asking what he kind of thought about where Arsenal stood, where Arteta stands, where some of the players stands, because they picked the faults out of like they. The other announcers were going on Jesus and of
Yes,
course Havertz because
Explainer.
they're low in fruit, and Gibbs was basically I don't care because we've improved the last 4 or 5 years. Even though you're exactly back to where you started because you're
Mhm.
into that fourth, fifth place range, not competing for the title again.
Yeah, it was Kieran
And he
Gibbs
rightly
sat at the
and he
table with
rightly
a
pointed
presenter, Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley. Stan.
Yep.
And as I say, Tony, he rightly pointed out as well. Sorry to butt in there, but he did rightly point out that we could be in Chelsea's position or we could be in Man
Man
United's
United.
position, which I
Yeah.
felt was a good observation.
I mean, of course, right? But you have to decide where do you want your club to be? Do you want to be
No,
third best in the
yeah, you
league
should be upset
consistently?
because you're not in the City, the Liverpool position.
Bracket. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, yes, it could be worse. The grass could be greener. I want it to be greener. I don't care about that it could be worse. That's what I'm trying not to do, right?
Gary, I don't care about United. I don't care about Chelsea. I don't care
Yeah,
about Aston Villa. I don't even care about Tottenham.
yeah,
The teams I want to be up there with is Liverpool and Man City. And right now, Arteta's not getting it done
yeah.
with these players. I believe the talent is there. You can't tell me that what we saw last season was a mirage, that we didn't get 84 points, and that we can't improve on that. Yeah, you can't tell me that.
I just think the players have lost the faith in him. It's
And
either
there could
because he
be,
doesn't change
yeah,
tactics, doesn't let them be creative, whatever they see, but I just don't think they have the belief in him.
yeah. And look, fool's goals, says Matt from the Southern Gunner. Um, you're going to hear stories now about theories about the dressing room and what's happened to Ramsdale and the Meal Smith Rose not getting minutes and players being unhappy. And you see Jurgen Klopp giving young players minutes and making them feel part of the setup. It's got to have an impact. What's going on? I'm hearing that David Raya's coach, Kanik, is it? What's his name again? He's speaking
Inaki
Spanish. Kenya, they're speaking Spanish together, making Ramsdale feel like, he's not involved. I'm hearing stories like this, and
But
it's not
that
good.
goes back to like Matt Ryan. You actually had him speaking. You
You're gonna
actually
keep
had
bringing
him.
him up, aren't you?
No, but
You
he
could,
was
I could
Well,
speaking.
imagine
you
Ramsdale with his
keep
phone
you
on
want to keep
Google
bringing it up, right?
Translate.
You want to keep bringing
Yeah,
it
but
up.
he was speaking Spanish to improve the communication amongst the back four in front of him.
Okay.
Something that Leno didn't do. He was horrible at communicating, but he's a hell of a shot stopper.
Is Tony like trying to dangle that goalkeeping carrot in front of us? Is that what you're doing, Tony?
Nobody's biting.
No,
Nobody's biting. But
You're trying to draw us into a conflict here?
no, I'm just saying that you have to have that communication back there. So
Yeah.
he's talking with
you're
him
telling
in
me that they've
Spanish.
been practicing for this long, and
There's,
they don't have any communication.
I'm,
Is
I'm,
that what you're going to try and tell me?
I'm sure, Gary, that
Who's Ramsdale playing with today that he didn't? Yes, like
I'm
last
sure
season.
I'm sure there are plenty of translators that you can find among the pitch during training and stuff.
So there's no problem then, right? They should have already resolved that
Arteta
issue.
speaks Spanish, so if a goalkeeping coach speaks Spanish, he can communicate in English to Ramsdale what he wants out of him.
Yeah.
That would be going back to the whole bullshit that
training with a
the whole
personal translator,
bullshit
so you can tell him what's
the
going on.
whole bullshit is Arsenal was doing bad because people couldn't fucking understand Emery, which I still say I can understand Emery better than I can Arteta. Different accents. Emery spoke 7 languages.
We're going back to
Uh,
what does that have nothing to do with
Yeah,
Emery
but the
anymore?
problem is, Tony, is that he spoke them all at the same time.
Stephen, we'll get back to that, Tony. Lads, I have the height of respect for all of your opinions. 2 Yanks, Gary and Tony there. 1 Irish Yank. That's me.
Hey! I got a British. I'm still British. All right. So,
You've been there
born.
too long, Gary. You lost your day.
Hey! Quiet.
I am
down.
Irish.
Quiet
Stephen,
down there.
I'm Irish.
Pure blood Yank. All right.
I never
I'm
said he has
Irish.
to go.
I still say
I never
things
said
like
I have to go.
how are you getting
Did I?
on?
You know
I
what?
said he has to go.
Something has to change, right? So I expect to see something
say to go.
change. So whatever that means.
Stan has not said it yet.
Yeah.
We
I'm
will. We
against
will.
it. I've actually
You know what?
myself. I said that
Yeah,
be
I would
angry
be
with him today and not want him fired.
Right. I'm asking questions. That's all I'm saying right now.
You know what? I always say it. I'm Arsenal first, and if this is good for Arsenal, what we're seeing today, cool. I don't believe it is, so something has to change. Tell me what it is. Ray's more. He's not more British than I am. He's definitely not more English than me, for sure.
I've seen more teams. Hey, I know Gillingham. I know how to pronounce Gillingham, Gary.
You do know how to spell.
I guarantee, right? If you look in the back of Ray's wardrobe, you will find a brown shirt.
A brown shirt. What's that?
Okay, I thought a bit of history there. Come on, you black
shirt.
and tans.
Black and tans. You won't see an Austin Powers cravat. That's for sure. I can hear a joke incoming. Yeah. Well, 2 Yanks, an Irishman, and a British Canadian get together. What do they talk about? You know, we ain't having the discussion on Arteta right now. We're truly finished as a fan base. But that being said, Jacksonville just lost, and my Bills are in the playoffs. The Bills are in without even having to play the Dolphins. Interesting.
Nigel got it.
Interesting. Huh?
I think Nigel got it.
Nigel got it. Yeah. So where were we before that, Stan? What were we talking about with Tony?
He was bringing up some nonsense, and you guys were like listening to it. Can we move on?
I'm just waiting for Alonso to pop in. It's about that time, isn't it? It's like 8
yeah,
minutes.
we're about finished here.
Alonso should be coming in a minute.
But Ray, where we were was with the Karen Gibbs. I don't think you ever finished that whole collective of thought.
Huh?
I said we were talking about Karen Gibbs. I don't think we ever finished.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, look, I just think Craig Burley and Steve Nicol never liked Arsenal, and they don't hide it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they were being. I thought they were being critical of the right things, though. Critical of Jesus, critical of a Havertz move.
I sold a timeshare to Craig Burley's cousin. Maybe he's got the ump about that.
And then when you hear Kieran Gibbs trying to defend, you know, they do hate us because of 89, you know, but there you go. Hate us because he ain't us. You know what I mean?
Alonso would say Kieran Gibbs should have been there today because he'd scored the game-winning bicycle kick or whatever
Um,
nonsense he was
Yeah,
coming up.
look, there was a comment here from I think Riddy, but it's going to be a long few weeks now. It's going to be a long couple of weeks now. Plenty of stories will be spun by the media. This
Hey, they
is very
can.
true.
Yeah, I got 13 days until we play.
But I definitely want to take them to the Emirates. I'm sure Brownie would say don't go to the Emirates as well.
What? What did he say? I don't.
Who are you going to take to the Emirates, Tony?
I want to take anybody but you. Rice and Gabrielle could go. Everybody else stay home.
I don't. I'm lost. I'm lost.
Me too.
I think I'm done.
I was talking about the warm weather training that we were talking about before.
Okay.
I'm saying
Maybe Eddie and Ketty will be a Crystal Palace player when we meet him.
I think we might get the deal done, but I don't think it would be final. Arsenal would make sure it happened after.
Well, it needs to if we're supposed to use it to get better. So.
Yeah, but we can spend
like.
the
There's no
money
reason
elsewhere.
to sell them if it just means you're going to stand pat and not even have bring in another player. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point?
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like where do we go from here? But the next game is the obvious answer, right? Next game at home to Crystal Palace is the obvious answer. We played Crystal Palace, we played on the Forest, and then we play Liverpool again at the Emirates in 4 weeks from now, at the beginning of February. So we will have one more chance to unblock the notebook of what happened today. Brady said, glad I'm off on holiday after 2 weeks. Cannot wait. Okay. All right. Pretty depressing. Arsenal fade out of the FA Cup again. And, all the things that are said about Arteta spending so much money and not having so much success. They're valid ones that are hard to bat away. It looks like this team has come so far and yet not so far, Tony.
The thing that I hope is total nonsense is us looking at Bayern Munich and looking at buying a left back from them, when we already have Gabriel.
I got one thing to say. Kill the stream, Dave.
But do we really need...
Kill the stream, Dave. Where's Dave?
Do we really need... Yeah, Bray, do we need... Daylight?
Let's kill the stream, Dave. Kill it.
Pronounce his name.
Time to say goodbye, is it, Gary?
It's time to go.
I was waiting. I was hanging. I was hanging on Tony's last words there.
I'm just reading Twitter, right? And this guy's put a tweet out. I'm not going to read any names, but the tweet says, we've had 61 shots in the last 3 games and have only scored 1 goal. But Arteta out. Okay, then. And the best answer to that is, right, this guy's in a reply has said, it's not Arteta out. It's Arteta do your job for which you are very well paid. Address your deficiencies and rectify the situation. And I think that's probably exactly where I stand. Just do your job. Rectify it. Correct it.
What? We've been here before. I feel like we've been here before.
I'm very interested to see where we are at the end of this month. When the window shuts, when it slams shut, it doesn't just shut, it slams shut. And then we can see if he's actually tried to rectify what our deficiencies are.
Yeah. There's going to be some...
on the 20th of January, if he's still in a job, we should see something that says, look, I'm trying to fix this thing.
Or outgoings that makes room for an incoming.
But when they take the field on the 20th, we should expect to see something that doesn't look like what we've seen before.
Okay. I want to see the ball pushing through that net.
That's what I just said. What's going on? Kill the stream, Dave. Come on. Nobody's listening to anybody. Not listening to me anyways.
I do not feel like... Who's Dave? And you're not watching Only Fools and Horses, are you?
No, it's not. Has nothing to do with that.
Okay, has nothing to do with
Gary's
that.
back to speaking nonsense.
All right,
Like the first
um,
30 minutes he was with us.
Nigel, great job, panel and chat. Thank you, gracious in defeat and respect. Look, all you can do is put your hands up when you're being beaten by the better team. It really hurts that Liverpool beat us again without a Van Dijk and without a Salah in their team. You know,
Stan's ready to go to sleep with his
Stan.
Playboy
Good
robot.
night, Stan. All right, thanks, Gary. These ones are not fun. Thanks, Tony. You're healing up really well, Tony.
Yep.
Not that well. He
Less
gets it all,
purple.
but-
Everybody, thanks everybody for joining us.
Looks
We'll
like
see you
normal
guys
skin.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Stan, thanks for joining. We're out of here.
Thank
This
you.
is not a fun one, but it makes it better being with friends. Take care, everyone. 2 weeks off, but we'll find things to talk about in the interim. Take care, everybody.